But I will share a story. So I was obviously, excited to present content today. But then some of the content I want to present, like here's how you automate this and here's how you automate that. I realized I wasn't automating. So today I just took some time to like redo my welcome series for my newsletter, as well as a few automations on social media. I'm going to show you what I built in about 90 minutes today, because I want to make sure that first of all you have like the latest approaches towards this, and then second of all, there's a lot of cool like new AI automations and tools that are out there that can help you do this faster. So some of the stuff I was doing before wouldn't work anyways, um, but that's why I wanted to do a bit of like a presentation, not a presentation, an activity that acknowledged that. So for everybody watching, I'll make sure you get a link to this as well. But what I presented is I'll share my screen too. It's called a video sales letter. All right. So a video sales letter is a way for me to describe my offering, my services. I'm not going to have the volume on right now. But what I want to do is make it really easy for people to say, look, here's what this guy does. Here's something, about his personality, how he behaves or how he acts. Here's what he can do for me. And do I actually want to like book a call with him or something like that, right? So the benefit of this is it's already going to increase the amount of people that know, like, and trust you before you even get on a call with them. And the more you use stuff like this on your website and your social media, so on and so forth, it's doing the selling for you. So when we talk about automation, it's not just like tools, like, okay, this tool can make this tool do whatever. It's like, how are we reducing the friction essentially and getting our clients or customers to perform our desired action? So with that, let me hop into the presentation. And there's going to be a lot of stuff that I'm sharing throughout the day. Don't worry about it if you're not familiar with it. I will send out give information for a recap for you to use all these tools as well. But the first thing I want to say is this. You might notice like this deck looks completely different from everything I've ever used before. You're like, what's up with all these weird colors and all this stuff, so on and so forth. Well, like I said before, since I wanted to update my deck, I didn't have time, did not have time for my team to do so. So I used a tool called Gamma.ai in order to do that. So Gamma.ai is pretty cool. Like, it's this tool where you can give it like an idea for what you want to write about, or just completely say, look, here's the outline of my presentation, and it'll write the whole thing for you. So what I'm going to do real quick is just show you an example of what that can look like. And Frankie, I'm going to ask you, just give me an example of anything I can write about, like any kind of presentation.
Um, I would say how to change a diaper.
Okay, it's going to be good. I have a lot of experience with that. Bam. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new AI-based presentation. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have it generate the entire presentation with just one line. Now, what I did to create the deck that you're looking at right now is I just put in the exact outline for what I want to present. But for right now, we're going to say, look, just generate a presentation of one thing, which is how to change a diaper for people who hate changing diapers. All I'm going to do. And what it's going to do is say, okay, well, how long should this presentation be? What language, so on and so forth. I'm going to say 8 cards, just keep it simple. And the first thing it's going to do is create an outline. So based on this topic, like how to change a diaper for people who hate changing diapers, it's going to say, okay, look, here's, the outline we propose. Diaper duty for diaper averse, gear before you dive in, what you should do, how to actually do it, how to clean up afterwards, so on and so forth. If this looks good to you, you would then say, okay, great, generate. But first you would choose what kind of theme you want. So it's like, what colors, what kind of font, so on and so forth. I'm not going to mess with this right now. If you want to bring images in, you can say, okay, get them, get them from AI, maybe there's some stock images, so on and so forth, whatever it is. But right now, it's going to hit this button that says generate, and it's going to write Frankie's presentation on how to change a diaper if you hate changing diapers. So you can see here, it's putting all this information here and building it out in the theme that we developed. It'll take like a minute or so, I would say. It's going to bring in some images too. You might not like the images. You might want to change them. That's fine. And even some of the content or the colors, you want to change that too, you can. On my end, what I found to be easier is you can actually export this as a Google presentation or a PowerPoint. So if you're more familiar with using other platforms like Google Slides or PowerPoint, you can do that as well. But this is done, right? So I'm not going to go through the presentation, but it's like if you wanted to, like, this is what you can present. Like, hey, here's my deck on how to change a diaper if you don't want to do it. Like, the key to less stressful diaper changes is preparation. Having everything within arm's reach means less time spent in the trenches. Gather all supplies first. Use a changing pad or towel. Like all this stuff, as a parent, I can tell you is true. The pictures are kind of weird, but if you wanted to, like, this is how you could literally make your presentations. What I would ask you to do though is to make sure it fits your branding, your font, your look and feel. Maybe put your own pictures in there and stuff like that too. But it's never been easier to make a presentation than now because of tools like this. So this is called Gamma.ai, and it is free for I think about around like 40 cards per month. So if you're only doing like one presentation a month, it's actually free to use. And on mine, like today when I was in a time crunch, I'm like, look, I have to have a presentation. Like I can't just show up and say, hey guys, it's free. It helped me out a lot because I was able to play with my kids this afternoon instead of making a presentation. So that's the advantage of this. And we'll go more into AI tools in a minute, but what I want to bring up that's very important to me is like, yes, use AI to automate your work, right? To make it easier, so on and so forth. But then use that time for something else, something more meaningful. Like, don't just keep on doing more work. On my end, I was like, I'm going to use this tool so I can go play with my kids, right? It might have been a bad idea because I got on my nerves a little bit, but either way, at least I was a present father. So on your end, like, don't just keep on doing more stuff because you can, because that's what happens sometimes when new technology is introduced. And I think I talked about this before, but like in the 50s, 1950s, when like the vacuum cleaner was introduced, it was marketed towards women saying, hey, all you housewives, now you can, have more free time because you'll be done cleaning just 2 hours. That's all it's going to take to clean the whole house. The vacuum cleaner is amazing. And first of all, it's very misogynistic to assume women are just sitting around all day cleaning. But second of all, like we just found more stuff to do. You know what I mean? So like all these advancements that come that are supposed to save us time, make things easier, we keep on cramming more stuff in there instead of just spending more time with ourselves, our family, like, fitness, like whatever it is. So on your end, on my end, that's I'm trying to partake on people or trying to impress on people is like, sure, use AI, but like also like go do something else like afterwards. On LinkedIn, you can set up what's called an away message, meaning when someone messages you, they get an autoresponder. Oh, thank you. You got it. Okay. Frankie, you're the best. All right. So here's what happened. Frankie DM'd me. She messaged me on LinkedIn and she got this autoresponder that says, hey, I'll reply soon. If you're ready to grow your brand, land keynotes, and scale your business with systems, check out my coaching. There's one. Another is, do you need a speaker for your next event? Click here, right? So therefore, what I can do is say, in one of my posts, I can say, hey, if you need help growing your business, DM me the word like system or whatever, and you'll automatically get this message sent to you, which then has you click through to this video. And this video is what's called a video sales letter. I put a link into it earlier. In this video sales letter, I will talk to you about my coaching program that I have. I'm not going to play it right now. It's about 2 minutes long. I explain my coaching program and why you should join it to give me money. Then at the bottom of this, what I do is I'm like, hey, you're not the problem. The system is, you've done all this work. I want to help you with my coaching program. You're going to get all these cool clients, land paid keynotes. It's going to be freaking amazing. It's not a course, it's an upgrade, so on and so forth. If you're ready to book a call with me, do so right now. But some people might think, I'm still not ready. So what I did is I said, okay, need more information? Sweet, I got you. Go in more information, so on and so forth. But the goal is for them to book a sales call with me. So this is how I'm automating the whole process. I post on LinkedIn every day. And often at the end of my post, I'll say something like, hey, if you want to, learn how to do this or whatever, DM me this word. And also they get hit with this. They then get a link to go book a call with me to a tool called Calendly, which I'm sure a lot of you heard of before. I explain like, hey, how I can help you. Here's what we're going to cover on the call. Here's what to expect, so on and so forth. Then you book a call through this tool. So the whole process from end to end, from getting from someone on social media to DM me to my website in this case, and then to a landing page, that whole process is completely automated. And on your end, I want you to do the same thing too. I set this up in 30 minutes because I remember my wife was on a call for work and I was watching my 3-year-old and she was watching like whatever TV show. And it took me like literally 30 minutes to set this whole thing up. So on your end, again, it's not a challenging activity whatsoever. If there's no coding required, you don't have to be like some kind of like tech expert or anything like that. In the recap, I'll give you links to all these tools as well as tutorials that teach you how to use them. But This is all you have to do. We've been talking about how to get more leads for a while, right? If you just post good content on social media, pretend it's like you help people get taller. Hey, there are three ways to get taller. Here's way number one. For the other two ways, DM me the word tall. And then when they DM you, they get that automatic message. After that, they book a sales call with you. They go through, you do your thing, you're done, right? But outside of that, even after a sales call, I have email sequences set up to get people to close after the call if they don't close during the call. All this stuff can be set up and automated through AI, through whatever email marketing platform you're using. It's not complicated whatsoever. It's just, first of all, knowing this stuff exists. And then second of all, learning how to use the tools. So getting over that knowledge curve that might be there for some of us. But once you do it, then everything's just automated. You're just about going on your day, like you're getting all these emails coming and all these leads, whatever it is. This makes everything much better. All right. So we'll get into how to do that a bit more as we go through this. But let me get back into the deck, and we will keep on. Okay, so like I said, we're going to be using a lot of tools. I'll give you information on how to set them up. But the reason why just talking about this stuff wasn't enough today is because if you don't actually see this stuff, like how to actually put in work, it's a waste of time. So I love this quote: "Knowledge uninvested in labor is wasted." That's by Jim Rohn. And even this infographic, right? Like it's fun to learn, but if you don't actually do stuff, get stuck, figure it out, learn, like this is how you grow. So I'm giving you some things that I know are challenging over the past couple of months, especially this one. But if you just put in the work, you'll get the outcomes. And I promise you, if you come to me in 2 weeks during the office hours and you say, "Hey, Terry, I couldn't figure this out. I couldn't figure that out," I will help you figure it out, either live during those office hours or I can give you some other resources. But if you want the automations I'm showing you set up for your business, like I'm doing right now, you can do it. It's going to be the homework, and I can support you with it as well, but you got to put in the work. All right. Let's also talk about this, because we're talking about like working smarter, not harder. Has anyone read this book before? 10x is easier than 10x. Sorry, 10x is easier than 2x. It's by Dr. Benjamin Hardy. And essentially what he was saying is like, if you want to grow by like 2x, like if you want to like double your business, there are like so many ways you could do it. So many ways that it's kind of confusing, right? Like new products, new services, like new referral programs, so on and so forth. But if you want to 10x it, like really go hard, there's not that many ways. You'd have to get like acquired maybe, right? Or form some kind of partnership. Same thing, like even think about yourself right now, like for your business. If you wanted to like make $100,000 for your business, like another $100,000 for your business next year, there's like several ways you could do it, right? It's like, okay, I can same scenario, right? If you had to make a million, another million, there's not that many ways. So the benefit of going 10x and having bigger goals is it's a clearer path because there's not as many options. And what he also says is think about like the 80-20 rule. Like if you really, really, really want to go 10x, the 80-20 rule says like 80% of your results, sorry, 80%, yeah, 80%, sorry, I'll, I'll go back. 80% of your results come from 20% of your effort, right? So what he's saying is look at your own business and think, okay, what's the 20% of like outcomes I'm getting that I'm doing these activities that are responsible for 80% of my revenue? Like what's the 20% of the stuff that I'm doing that is responsible for 80% of my revenue? And then just go really hard on that. So on mine, I used to have a bunch of different offers. Like I'm selling courses, I'm selling community, I'm selling affiliate stuff, so on and so forth. Now I'm like, look, there's just three things I do really well and that I want to do, and that's it. So that's the benefit of being super focused. I do recommend checking that book out. Because again, like if you just think like, what am I doing really well in my business? What would happen if I just went really, really, really hard on that? If I just focused just on that one thing. And unfortunately, corporations figure this out quite often. That's why they just lay people off, right? Or they stop making certain products. They're like, you know what? We did some analysis and realized like we're putting a lot of effort into this and not making as much money as we could if we put effort here. Some of my friends who own agencies, if they have clients that are kind of needy or kind of a pain, they just get rid of them. They're like, you are draining our team. Like, you're only making us this much money, but the amount of time you're demanding, like the morale that you're impacting, so on and so forth, it's not worth it. So, what I'm asking you all to do is to audit how you're spending your time with your business. Like literally, what is the 20% of effort that's giving you 80% of your outcomes? And how can you make your 20% the thing that you're really focusing on? How can that become your 80%? And the other stuff is like stuff you're like, okay, I guess I have to do this, right? Again, what I'd recommend doing is checking out that book. 10x is easier than 2x. Like just the whole mindset change that comes from that is amazing. And Dr. Benjamin Hardy is also an amazing author, so I do strongly recommend checking him out. Do you think you do a good job of nurturing your professional network? So we all build our network, right? We go to events, we connect on LinkedIn, all the things. Yes or no, do you think you do a good job of nurturing your network? All right. So we're talking about working smarter, not harder here. And we already know one of the best ways to grow your business is through referrals. So are you actually nurturing your network? Yes or no? It's all good. Like, nobody's getting called out here. But do you think you do a good job of nurturing your network? You can answer in the chat. And if you want to come off mute, that's cool too. Jay, I saw you unmuted. You guys responding and I'm not seeing that could be a possibility. Jay, I think you said yes to that. Oh, maybe. Anyways, so on my end, I don't whatsoever. Like I'm just like horrible at a lot of things that are interpersonal communication. um, but I don't do good at that whatsoever. But the other day, like I did like this thought exercise and I reverse engineered the biggest opportunities that come to me in my career, even some of the smallest ones. I'm like, where do they come from? They came from nurturing my network. They came from staying in touch with people that I've known for like years sometimes. And all of a sudden an opportunity comes up and they think of me, or vice versa. I'll think of them, right? So I was like, what if I found a way to just stay on people's radar, to make them aware of me a couple times a year in case something comes up, right? Some kind of project, partnership, speaking engagement, whatever. So what I decided to do was create a newsletter just for my personal network, just my personal professional network. And I curated a list of about 300 people that I know who I want to stay in touch with for one reason or another, right? And Frankie and sorry, I see Tony you joined. You're on that list. If you didn't get the email, keep an eye out for it. But I just sent them an email saying, "Hey, look, here's what I'm up to. Like, this is what I'm up to, and I'll show you part of it right now." But the goal was not to get them to like buy something necessarily. The goal is to remind them who I am. And I did say, hey, look, I do have one ask. I have this keynote called Comfort Kills Greatness. If you know of anyone looking for a speaker, I'd love your help. And by the way, if I can make an introduction for you as well, I'd appreciate it. Just let me know. So, oh, thanks, Jay. Thanks, Jay. You found it? Yeah. Appreciate that. So let me share my screen. I'm not going to go through this whole letter that I wrote, but essentially I said, hey, again, this went out to like 300 people. I'm like, you're probably wondering where I'm reaching out. Totally fair. We probably have not talked in a while and they might feel out of the blue a bit. But here's what got me thinking. One of my old coworkers sent a note to me saying, I was not sure if I should reach out. It's been a long time. And that hit me because I remember borrowing money from that guy back in the day. If anyone should feel comfortable reaching out, it's him. But I get it, life gets full, time passes, so on and so forth. So I decided that twice a year, I'm going to share a short note with some personal highlights of what I've been working on, how we can support each other. If it resonates, cool. If not, you can unsubscribe here. I'm not going to check it. So here's what's up with me, so on and so forth. I can show you the full email if you want, but this is what I sent out to my network in batches. And I was surprised at the feedback because, first of all, nobody unsubscribed. But second of all, like the amount of messages I got from people who I know are freaking busy, like they're traveling, just saying, oh man, it's so good to hear from you. This is amazing. And some of them actually asked me questions. I'm like, sweet, that's what I wanted. I didn't just want to, get speaking gigs. I actually want to help my network too. So now I'm functioning as a connector because some of them are like, hey, can you introduce me to X, Y, and Z? I'm like, sure, I can do that. That is sometimes one of the best ways to serve your network is by connecting them to other people. And now, since they're telling me exactly what they want, I can serve them better going forward. So if you want, excuse me, I can share this full message with you. Just say yes or no in the chat, or Jay say it verbally if you want. If you don't want it, it's fine. But I'm asking all of you to strongly consider doing this pretty much forever. Here's why. Bill Clinton, I was reading his memoir, and he mentioned that one reason he believes he got elected governor of Arkansas is because he did a really good job of nurturing his network. Whenever he met someone at a speaking event or a networking thing, whatever it is, he had a Rolodex, this is old school. He would put their name in there, their birth date, a fact about them, and he would stay in touch with them. So then when he was running for governor of Arkansas, he called in some favors. He's like, hey guys, like I've known you for years. I'm wondering, can you help me out here? So on and so forth. Called in those favors. And then later on, when he ran for president, same thing, right? So on my end, I strongly believe that I'll be on a stage in a couple of years saying, hey, like 80% of my business and partnerships comes from a newsletter that I send twice a year to 300 people. It's not social media. It's not my main newsletter. It's not XYZ. It is just maintaining relationships with people that I want to help and I know support me as well. That's it. That's like, I wish I'd started doing this 15 years ago. But it is what it is, right? So on your end, if you do stuff like this, it just makes life easier, right? You don't have to try so hard to get cold leads coming in or all this random pitching because people who know, like, and trust you are already thinking about you on a regular basis because twice a year you're chiming in there and just saying, like, hey, here's what I'm up to. No ask, no, hey, I just quit my job. Give me, help me out or something like that. I'm just saying, like, hey, here's what I got going on and can you support me? But one thing I would recommend is run it through some kind of AI platform and say, hey, is there any reason my audience will get offended by what I've said? Am I being too, forward, asking for help? Like, just make sure that you're not annoying people more or less with your ask. Because one of my buddies told me to tone it down because I was actually asking for too much. So I'm like, hey, book a phone call. He's like, dude, no one wants all this stuff. Like, just get to the point. All right. Okay, so that's one, or sorry, actually, that's two ways, right? So we talked about one way to get people from LinkedIn to DMing you, to watching your video sales letter, and then booking a sales call. We also talked about the easiest way, which is just reaching out to your network, which we can all do. Another thing I want to show you is just walking through how to do something similar on Instagram, where if someone DMs you a word, they automatically get some kind of message as well, the same one that Frankie and Pharrell saw earlier. And I'll show you my screen real quick. There's this tool that I use called Stan, and I'll show you in a moment. And what happens if you send me this word system, you'll get that video sales letter and a booking link. And again, this took me like 15 minutes to set up as well. So let me walk through how to do this. Some of you might have used other tools for this. I know there's another one. Can't remember the name. There's another tool that's something similar, but I use Stan for it. And with Stan, I'll show you what this looks like right now. It's pretty simple. It's like when someone DMs or comments, in this case, the word system on any post, and I could have more than one word. It could be like power, cool, forge, or whatever. It doesn't really matter. Um, on all posts, on some posts, it could be a certain post, whatever it is. Then what Stan's going to do is they're going to reply to this with this message right here. Hey, got it. This means someone just DM me a word, right? It's going to say, got it. I just dropped the full breakdown below. If you're done chasing leads and want to build real authority, watch this ASAP. This is a system I use to help experts land keynotes and clarity fast, right? They would then click through on the same URL that I showed you earlier. And again, it's a video sales letter. So again, they're on Instagram. They didn't see this video sales letter afterwards. They're trying to get them to buy something. And at the very bottom, what I would do is, again, have all this other information here saying, here's how you can go ahead and pay me money, right? And again, this took me all of 30 minutes to set up. All you have to do is go through this tool called Stan. And again, there's other tools as well. But now when I'm on Instagram and again, someone DMs me, same thing. You can use it for stories. You can use it for your posts, whatever it is. But I'm just automating the whole flow because one challenge that I've had, maybe you have as well, is like maybe you are posting on social media, but like literally nothing is happening like whatsoever. You know what I mean? Like, does that happen to anybody? You're like, how come no one's like DMing me or like, like messaging me or whatever? And it feels frustrating, right? But if you just always have this like passive call to action at the end, if this feels good or if this resonates, like DM me the word whatever, then you know that it doesn't matter if someone's reading this post or your last 20 posts, they're always going to see that call to action. And eventually, if they feel called to, they're going to go ahead and DM you. You get them in this cycle, right? So, our goal here is to spend less time manually doing these things and more time doing it through automation and through AI. So, I was telling Frankie earlier, I had to redo this deck because I realized some of the things that I was going to talk about today, like I'm not doing, that makes me hypocritical. So on my end, I was going to talk about your welcome sequence. Like when someone joins your newsletter, there's going to be a welcome sequence, and your goal there is to introduce yourself to them and then get them to know you a bit better. And then from there, go ahead. All of this is new. Okay, good. I'm glad it's new. And then from there, get them to go ahead and eventually book a call. So what I want to do is show you how I did that and how you can do that as well. So let me share my screen, and then we're going to get pretty granular in a minute. So the problem I had with my newsletter for years is people weren't really buying anything. Like, I mean, if I was really overt, they would, but like normally, and I'll stop sharing now, like normally, like when someone first joins your newsletter, for the first 30 days, they're kind of primed to buy something already, right? Because they join your newsletter for a reason. Like, oh, this guy talks about cool stuff. That's when you often have a really good chance of getting some initial payment from them or some kind of initial purchase. But I didn't have a sequence set up. It was just like you join and then I just start blabbing, right? And another thing to be aware of is the way that part of my actually I got to show you this too, actually. One way that I've grown part of my newsletter is through a tool called ConvertKit. And with ConvertKit, they have a tool called Discover, which helps you self-refer subscribers to other creators' networks. So our friend Trinity is here. When I sign up, we can set up like this. So like if someone signs up for Trinity's newsletter, there can be a pop-up there that says, oh, you should also sign up for Terry's newsletter. That's how ConvertKit helps creators essentially help other creators grow. And let me show you on my end how that's helped me quite a bit. I'm going to share my screen, and this is what it looks like. Okay. So these are people that are recommending other people to my newsletter. All right. And you can see that there's about 400 people doing it, which is really cool. And 30,000 people saw an opportunity to join my newsletter. About 10,000 did. And these are just from recommendations. I got to repeat this. Like, these are people who joined my newsletter because people like this recommended me. And I can even see who's doing it. Like this lady Dory is one of my friends. She's sent 1,000 people to my newsletter. That's pretty good, right? This guy, I don't even know him. This is Justin. I know Mike, Austin, like a lot of really good people here. Some people I know, some I don't. But again, they're sending people to my newsletter, and I gotta start recommending these people because they're recommending me. I'm not recommending them back. And that's how I'm growing. So on your end, you could do the same thing if you wanted to. And that's essentially how you're automating the growth of your newsletter. Again, 10,000 people, and this came out like 2 years ago that I added to my list through this tool again called ConvertKit Recommendations. And I think Beehive has a similar setup as well. So I'm not saying you have to use ConvertKit, but if you are trying to grow your newsletter right now and the platform that you're using does not allow other people to recommend people to your newsletter, you should strongly consider checking out ConvertKit and or Beehive. I think Substack might have something similar too, but you can literally automate the process of growing your newsletter. I'm not joking when I say that, just by having these recommendations set up. So the thing is, like, when you're doing stuff like this, like, okay, I got to create a welcome sequence. I'm crappy at writing that type of copy. I'm not good at writing sales copy that's like persuasive and like trying to sound smart, but also trying to be friendly, but also trying to make money. So what I did is I went into, I think it was like Claude or ChatGPT, and I just gave it a lot of information to help me make this email sequence. I'm going to show you all the information I shared with it because it's going to tie together a lot of what we've been doing over the past few months, right? When I'm saying, okay, let's perfect your offer. Let's get clear on who you are. Let's create an empathy map for your audience. And if some of you are listening to this stuff and like, what the heck's that guy talking about? Please go watch the previous sessions because we covered all this stuff before. I can answer questions about it. I'm happy to, but if this is your first session, you got to go watch the other ones, unless this one's bad, and then don't. But let me show you what I mean by that. I went into ChatGPT, and I'm going to show you like literally exactly what I shared to create my newsletter sequence. So I'm not going to read this verbatim because it's going to sound weird. But I was like, I want you to build a welcome series for my newsletter. I'll share information about it via text, but I want you to follow all best practice from ConvertKit, including what Matt Ragland, one of my friends who's like a genius, would recommend, what Jay Klaus would do, another person who's really good with newsletters, and Nathan Barry would recommend. And a few things that are very important to me is when people first join my list, they get to know who I am as a person. Um, because a lot of them are coming to me from a referral. Like I said, 10,000 people came to me as a referral, meaning they didn't really know who I was until this guy Kevin said, go check out Terry. So I'm like, well, shoot, I got to make sure that when they do join my list, they have an understanding of who I am. So, anyways, I said that, and just gave it more information here. I was like, uh, give me information on best practices. Make sure that the first email really delivers a lot of good content because for all I know, they're going to unsubscribe after that. And then I gave it my empathy map. We talked about this before. You create an empathy map for your target audience. And an empathy map is essentially what's going on inside their head. Like, what are they thinking, feeling, saying, or doing? We created that, I think, when we were down in Texas. Maybe it was the second session, I can't remember. But I put my empathy map in there. I put information about my offer, everything it needs to know, essentially, about me, my brand, even some stuff about my book coming out. As much information as possible as you can dump into a tool like this and say, okay, now I'll write something in my voice, the better it's going to come out, right? So after this probably took closer to like 15 minutes or so. But once I got this done, I got the final result back and I'll share it with you. I mean, you can look at it whenever you want. And if you want, actually, you can use this as an example of what yours can look like. But let me share my screen briefly and I'll share with you the very first email you would get now if you join my list, unlike what I had set up before, right? So someone like, hey, my name's Terry. Before I go any further, I want to make some few things clear. I don't send fluff. I don't waste your time. I only share ideas you can actually use. Smart people take action and figure it out as they go. That's what this newsletter is for. Quick backstory, because you may have joined through a referral and have no idea who I am. I worked at Facebook. I rebuilt my life. Today, I help people also do well. Yes, I've worked with Google, Amazon, and Fiverr, but I've also built this newsletter for people like you who want to stop tolerating, start building something real. I got 4 kids. I do CrossFit, and my core belief is simple: core comfort kills greatness. So if you're tired of tolerating that life that looks fine but misaligned, you're in the right place. In my next email, so I'm getting them excited for the next email. I'll send you one of the most powerful essays that I've ever written. It'll rewire how you think about growth, action, and self-respect. Until then, hit reply and tell me what brought you here. What are you building? So let me stop for a minute. So the goal here was to, again, say, here's who I am. Here's what to expect. Here's what's coming next, meaning please don't unsubscribe. And then I'm saying this right here, hit reply and tell me something, because if someone replies to your newsletter, first of all, you're not going to go to spam. Second of all, you might it might help you get moved from updates to the primary folder on the Gmail, which will get your message seen by more people. And the very last thing I put here, this might seem kind of weird. At the very end, I said, yes, if you like content like this, check out insert newsletter name here. It's one of the few that I actually read and trust to sharpen my thinking. What I'm doing here is I'm putting in a link to someone else's newsletter. This guy's name is Sahil Bloom. And every time you sign up for his newsletter, I will get paid $1.50. Does that make sense? He pays people to help him grow his list. So every time someone goes to this email, clicks that link that I got to set up, and signs up for his newsletter, I make $1.50. But let's go back. Remember, I told you all these people are recommending me to my list? Let me show you something. These are how many people I get per day. I'll just show you the data. So these are how many people per day join my newsletter, right? So like 50 here, 13 here, 20, 13, 9, 10, so on and so forth, right? For a total of like X thousand or whatever. So on my end, if I have my welcome sequence set up to the point where as soon as you join my newsletter, you learn about me, but you also click if you learn about Sahil's newsletter and you join his, I make $1.50. So you see what I'm saying? I'm setting up a flywheel. It's basically free money if you've been paying attention. So people are recommending me to my list, like they'll recommend you to your people will recommend people to your list. Yeah. So that is how you set up a, a newsletter welcome sequence, and it is a best practice for all of us to follow. Like I said before, I wasn't doing it, so I'm calling myself out. Now I am, and no, you're good. And that is the process. All right. All right. So I showed you my example. Actually, I'll show you the whole thing. Let me exit out of here. Or at least I'll go a bit further, because that's the first email. And then this one was I'm recapping a newsletter that I wrote before that was about not stockpiling knowledge. This one's my favorite AI prompts. So again, what I'm doing is saying, okay, here's who I am. Here's some very valuable information. Hope it's useful. Here's a really cool AI prompt. This is how I help people, by the way. This is how I got clients like these folks, so on and so forth. And then eventually you'll say, like, hey, by the way, if you want help, watch this video. Right now I'm starting to pitch. So I'm not really pitching until the third email here. And then down here, it's like, hey, how about more newsletters that you actually want to read? Because now I'm trying to get them to buy more, sign up for more newsletters because each link I put in here, I'll get paid $1.50 per newsletter they sign up for, right? So I'm monetizing it. Whether they ever buy something from me or not, I'm still making money. Again, we're trying to automate our revenue here. And the last thing here is just like, hey, look, are you gonna buy something or not? um, so I'm saying by now you probably know something. I actually know what I'm talking about. Do you want to buy something, so on and so forth? And then after this, what I would do is get them off of this sequence and then move them onto my traditional newsletter that goes out to everybody. So you'll get like notes on how to do all this stuff, but essentially the goal is to automate the process of getting people from social media, from wherever, onto your newsletter, and then from your newsletter, either buying something from you or buying something or signing or making money as an affiliate in this case, or yeah, we'll call it an affiliate in this case. So that's the goal. And again, you'll get instructions on how to set this up for your own company, but you have to put in the work for that to actually make sense. All right. So with that, I baked an activity into this, and you're all going to do it or not do it, but I'm going to give you all 5 minutes. I'm going to step aside for a minute. What I want you to do, if you actually do this, you'll save a lot of time every week. What I want you to do is just think of opportunities for things that you can automate, delegate, or eliminate. So we'll call it 5 minutes because I know we're kind of cruising at a different speed here. Take 5 minutes, and I just want you to write down like 5 to 7 tasks that you do every week, right? And then label each like automate, delegate, eliminate. And I want you to choose one to automate, and then we're going to use AI to help you. All right. So I want you to choose one of the things that you want to automate, and we're going to use AI to help you with that. And I'll give you a few examples of how to save time with AI. So like invoice reminders. I used to hate sending invoice reminders because I don't like asking for money in the first place. That all can all be automated. Email summaries. Oh my gosh. Like so people just send me like manifestos as emails sometimes. I'm like, bro, just get to the point. Like, I can't read emails. I just can't when they're that long. So I'll just say, like, summarize this email. What do they need? Like, what exactly do they need? And then from there, I'll respond. Like, I won't use AI to respond to my emails. I don't like doing that. But I will ask for a summary sometimes. And I remember I got this one long one from a different partner, and there's like no action item. They're like, I'm like, what should I do? They're like, I don't know. I'm like, come on, chat, like help me out. It's like, you know what I mean? So it's like you're saving time with that. And another thing you can do is if you want to create video content, you can easily repurpose it using tools like Opus Clips or the script. And I can show you how to use that later on if you're interested. Anyone who wants to see how Opus Clips can help you make videos. You can just put like one long form video in there, and it'll turn into several short form videos for your Instagram, for Reels, for YouTube Shorts. It's pretty cool. I can show it to you later if you want. But that's what I want to do right now. Let's just take 5 minutes. So we got to put in some work here. Take 5 minutes and go through this again. List tasks that you're doing every week. It doesn't have to be 5 to 7, it can be several. And just go through and think, what do I want to automate, delegate, or eliminate? And then choose one to automate. So, Jay, I know you're on your phone. Email campaigns, the EDCs. What's an EDC? Something about electric vehicles?
Yeah, it is a economic development corporation for either counties or cities.
And what are you saying? Like, you want to set up an email sequence for them?
I'm doing that. I'm putting together an email campaign to reach out to them to discuss EV charging in underserved areas and using battery and solar as a resiliency hub, a location where rural communities can go in case of power outages.
Okay. Where are you struggling with setting that up?
Basically, just getting the time to craft something that's compelling. One of the things I've started doing is asking ChatGPT to help me craft a compelling email on why a EDC wants to talk to a small company like myself that doesn't have a big brand to discuss uh, resiliency hubs.
I want to show you something, and then I'll get back to what you're saying. Have you heard of Avis car rental before? It
Absolutely.
was like back in the 80s, I think, maybe the 90s. Not really sure. but they just were behind like enterprise and yeah, behind enterprise. So like this was their theme. We're only number two in rent a cars. That's why we try harder. So what you could say is like, hey, I'm a small supplier. Like you're like gonna be my biggest client. I have to try hard. Like I have to make sure you're happy. Some of these other guys, they have like 50, 60, 70, 80, blah, blah, blah. I am going to give you white glove treatment because first of all, I have to. And second of all, like I don't have a bunch of clients like they do. So what I'm saying is like there's probably a way for you to use your relative small size as an advantage, right? So that's what startups do. They're saying, hey, we're more nimble than like a Google or whatever, so on and so forth. I would encourage you to do that. But I think what's even more important is this. I would not just say, hey, write me an email sequence of why someone should invest in my company XYZ. I would just actually leave a voice note within chat. I would say, hey, ChatGPT, I need you to create a newsletter that goes out to this type of company. The reason being is like I'm really struggling to get leads coming in. And they also feels like sometimes a smaller player that they ignore me. So I need you to find a way to make that an advantage. And here's exactly what I do. Here's information about me. Here's my bio. Here's why I started the company. Here's some of my testimonies. Like as much information as you can. And then Jay and everybody else, like give it some guidance. Say, before you get started, who is widely known as the best person in the world to create this type of sales sequence for this specific audience? Not like who's good at writing newsletters or emails. If you do that, Jay, and again, you're using your own voice. That way, it's like it captures your essence, your spirit, your soul, and all that stuff. But also goes through best practices of how to actually make money. I think you're like you'll get that done tomorrow. Like I'm not. I don't mean to be like jovial about it or joking about it, but like that's how fast it can happen. So when I say, does that sound feasible, or does that sound like, hey, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about?
Definitely sounds feasible, and I've been doing that, putting that type of information, not exactly like that. I'm really focused on what you just said, but letting ChatGPT know, hey, I haven't closed a lot of sales, so how can you craft something that takes that into account, but doesn't make me sound like I don't know what I'm talking
Yeah. Yeah. No, you nailed it. I mean, it's not like, super easy to do at times, and I get that, but that's really is what you need to do. Like, and again, just as a reminder, like say, hey, who is known as the best person in the world to do this stuff? And that way you don't have to worry about it, just giving you general advice, and they'll be more specific to your industry too. So Charlotte's using a tool called Honeybook. And I used to use Honeybook. Actually, I used to be one of their partners. I can't remember where I stopped using it. But Charlotte, HoneyBook has a lot of automations baked into it that I never used. They're really going like most brands like that are going hard on AI. I would ask you to look at some of the documentation there, what they have available, because they're trying to make it really, really easy for people to do this. Automate emails to clients for Google reviews once the job is done. I suspect through HoneyBook, there's going to be a workflow. Like, okay, once the job is done, once it's invoice has been paid, that you can just push a button most likely, and it would do that. So let's just figure it out. Actually, I want to see what happens if I just ask ChatGPT straight up. So I just said, hey, I use this specific tool, and I want to get this outcome. And it's showing you, like, I don't use the tool anymore, but it's showing you how to do this stuff. Like, go to workflows, automations, hit trigger, hit yakety schmackety. So if you want, I can copy and paste this, but you can do the same thing on your end too if it's easier. But that's how you do it. It's like even today, like I had to do some other technical stuff for my company. I'm like, I don't remember that stuff anymore. I just asked ChatGPT. I'm like, read the user manual for WordPress or watch this YouTube video and teach me how to do this thing step by step. So like that way, like even if I'm watching my kids, I don't have to think that much. I can follow that process. So it's pretty simple. All right, so it's my YouTube channel, and typically there's like two types of content. There's going to be videos, which are longer form videos, as well as shorts, which are like reels on Instagram. And often, like videos don't get as much reach as you might want them to, like the longer form ones. So on my end, I really lean towards. Actually, let me go back. Um, I lean towards using more shorts because they get discovered much more often, right? So if you look at the shorts on here, they're not like pretty or anything. It's just like me talking. but they get a decent amount of views, like, a couple hundred views here, 1,000 there, a couple thousand there, a couple thousand there, a couple thousand, like, it's doing well enough. And the thing is, people see this content and they'll reach out to me like, "Oh, I saw your YouTube video." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Because I never remember actually doing these things. Reason being, the way that I do it is I have this tool called Opus Clips, and I'm gonna sign in so I can show it to you. But just like it's saying, like, all you have to do is drop a link to, let me stop here just in case something weird happens. It could be a YouTube video, and it'll give you snippets of it that are all ready to go for social media, right? So like it'll have like all the captions on it. It'll be like the perfect cut. It'll show you how likely it is to go viral. And all you have to do is push one button because you can also schedule from there as well. So I'll show you some that I've done before in a moment, but right now let's go look at my friend Lauren. Where's Lauren? Some of you might know Lauren. She used to be a model. Now she does a bunch of stuff. She just became the CEO of Slutty Vegan. If you know Pinky Cole, she became the CEO of her brand, which is pretty cool. But what I'm going to do is show you how easily I can make social media clips with my friend Lauren here by using this tool, Opus Clips. So you just pop it in here, drop the link, like literally, and it's going to ask you some questions like, how long do you want this to be? Like whatever, it doesn't really matter. Um, from here, I'm saying, well, what kind of preset do you want? How do you want the captions to look? So on and so forth. Different options. I'll just say this one. And then from there, you just say get clips in one click. What's going to happen is it'll probably take about 20 minutes or so for this to process. And then you'll get an alert saying that's done. Actually, 9 minutes. But I'll show you what it looks like after you do this. This is Joe Franco. She has, I don't know if she still does, but a Netflix documentary about traveling around the world. And I actually interviewed her because unfortunately she got shot while she was visiting her family in Brazil. She's fine now, but that was what the story was about, essentially, her unfortunately getting shot. And this platform will automatically make all these clips for you, right? So the cool thing is, again, this is all I did was drop the link in here and it made all these clips. It'll also show you how likely it is to go viral. Like it's scoring it. Like this one's a 99, this one's, 91, so on and so forth, based on certain things. So let's look at this one. It's saying the hook is great, the flow is great, the value is great, the trends I get A minus. So it's saying, okay, cool, close enough. This is a good clip. From here, what I can do is just hit this button and say publish on social. It's going to say, well, what platforms? I'm just going to say, essentially what you do is just push that button, if it actually works. And then from there, it would schedule the content onto your Instagram, your YouTube, whatever it is. So going back to the original point, yeah, that's all you have to do to get all these social media clips. And I'm not going viral, right? I'm not getting millions of views, but I'm getting thousands of views. And again, all I'm doing is pushing a couple of buttons when it actually works. And that's how I'm getting that output. So that tool is called Opus Clips. I will give you a link to it. I think you can process up to like 30 minutes for free per month, maybe a bit more than that. So most of the stuff I'm showing you, you don't actually have to pay for if you don't want to. In this case, I do because I use it so much. But if you don't want to, like, just live your life and not have to worry about it. Do you have to have a YouTube account? No, actually, you don't. So you don't whatsoever. Thanks for asking that. No, I mean, sometimes what I'll do is I'll upload like a webinar that I might have done or like other long form video that's just on my computer and I'll have it clip it there. So no, any source, you can just upload it directly from your computer if you want. So that's a good idea. What I have been doing is I would do like an interview with people. Like I'd be like, hey, Frankie, let's just have a conversation about whatever. And then just like shoot the stuff for a while and then just run that video through Opus Clips and just see what happens. Because it's like, all right, there's gonna be some cool moments out of this conversation. So just me and Frankie connecting for like a half an hour can give me like 10 videos from that. Yeah, that's how I use it. But one thing to realize is these colors are great. Like you don't have to be an expert on like AI or even like how to do this stuff. You don't have to be an expert on HoneyBook or Opus Clips or any of these things. You just need to have better prompts and be resourceful, right? So I mentioned this here earlier. Like every slide that you see today was made by AI. I gave it my offer, all this information. It made this for me. And what I'm asking you to do is use prompts like this. Act like the best direct response copywriter in the world write a landing page for my coaching program using this outline, like whatever it is. But just give it good prompts and you'll get good outputs, right? If it's garbage in, garbage out, so you know how that goes. The more specific you are in who you are, who you're helping, what you're trying to do, like what resources they can use to do it better, the better outcome you're going to get. So I'm going to leave some time here for questions, but the homework is going to be, I'll put up on the screen real quick, is going to be to, first of all, select one task that you're going to automate, and then connect with at least one person. We talked about networking earlier, and I mentioned sending a letter to 200 people. I started about 300 people in my network. I want you to connect with at least one person saying, hey, here's what's going on with me, what's going on with you. And experiment. Just like one AI tool that you try. I would suggest perhaps Opus Clips is a pretty good one. Obviously, ChatGPT counts as well, but at least one system that you will try to use to make your life better. And again, the goal here is to hustle smarter, not harder. Just there's so much you can do with AI. And again, like use that extra time for something else. Like I mentioned earlier, I got extra time today. I was just playing with my kids on the roof. We were just playing with water guns because I used AI to get my work done faster. I didn't use that time to do more work. I just wanted to go play with my kids. So don't just find more stuff to fit in that time. Go do something meaningful, right? Like whatever that may mean to you. And also just like you have to lean in with intellectual curiosity because there is a learning curve, but this is the way of life now. You know, it's like back in the day, we had to learn how to use the internet. We got to learn how to use AI now. So it might be kind of scary, but like just start with stuff you're actually doing. Like Jay was saying, I have to write this newsletter. Great, cool. Start there. Don't try to find use cases like, oh, here's this app that helps you find your left shoe. Like, who cares, right? Like, think about what you're actually doing. Going back to that list we made earlier, like, what are the 5 to 7 tasks that you're doing on a regular basis that you want to either automate, eliminate, or delegate, and then see how AI can help you. So don't reinvent the wheel whatsoever. Just go ahead and find ways to do things that you're already doing more efficiently. Do I have a premium account on LinkedIn to use that Messenger DM feature? Yeah, I have LinkedIn, whatever it is, like $30 a month. That's how you can use that feature. For those of you who weren't here earlier, I'll show you what I have set up, and you'll see the recording. But essentially, what I'm trying to do is automate or at least reduce the friction between someone's discovering me on social media and finally actually joining my newsletter. So responder setup. One of them is within. I'm not going to show you because like my computer might crash, but essentially what I did is I set up a bunch of automations where if you DM me a word like money or something like that, you'll get an automatic message that says, "Hey, thanks for reaching out. Here's this video that explains how I can help you." And I showed a VSL, a video sales letter that I created earlier today before someone might have joined. So that's the process. It's super easy. And again, it can make life easier for you because then you'll notice calls are getting booked or things are being bought and you don't even know how. You're like, wait, who is this person? Like, why is someone booking a call with me? Oh, they saw my post that said, DM me this word. They went to this funnel that I set up and now I'm on a sales call. If you do this stuff, again, you're probably about 3 hours away from this, maybe 5 tops. You'll be able to automate the process of getting people from social media either onto your email list and then automating that entire process. We talked about that earlier, and or going through and booking a sales call with you after learning more about you through this video sales letter, giving them more information about your offer, and then saying, hey, let's book a call. That way that by the time they show up to you, they've had several interactions with you. You didn't see them, but they saw you on social media a few times. They watched your video, right? They're on your newsletter, so on and so forth. So they show up actually knowing you. And they'll ask you silly questions like, well, how do you help me? It's like they already saw that stuff. So if you do put in like these 3 to 5 hours of work and like even like that recording that video, not that much time, because I think I told you the video that you saw me in that VSL, I used AI to fake eye contact. There's a button within this tool called Descript that if you hit it, it'll make it look like you're looking at the screen, even though you're not. I can try to show that to you guys real quick if you want, but it's never been easier to create any kind of freaking content because if you're like me and you're like, I hate memorizing scripts, you don't have to anymore. You can just stare at your notes while you're talking and Descript will make it look like your eyes are looking at the camera. So that's how I'm able to make this VSL so much faster because it literally took me 10 minutes and I actually wrote it with AI as well. So I said, again, here's my offer. Here's what I do. Who's the best person in the world to write video sales letters that convert for entrepreneurs? It gave me a name, and I was like, okay, cool, boom. Pretend I just hired that person, and here we go. So I'm gonna try to show you what it looks like within the tool when it's actually working. This may work, this may not, but great look at my face. So this is a tool. It's called Descript. I'll try to make this a little bit bigger. Right now, I'm looking at the screen, right? Now I'm not. See, I'm looking over here at my notes. Watch my eyes move. Can you see that or no? Just say yes or no. That's where I'm really looking, and that's it's correcting my vision. So it looks like do it one more time. My note's supposed to be over here. You can totally tell, right? That's all you gotta do. And you too can have your own VSL. Yeah, Jay, I know, right? So, okay, Jay, you need a VSL too then. Like you need a VSL, you need a video sales letter. Because then when you send out that email sequence and you're like, hey, here's who I am, they're not gonna be like, oh, whatever. Like, oh man, Jay is cool. He is so charismatic and funny. And man, like I gotta work with this guy. I'm gonna start calling him JJ, like we're buddies and stuff like that. So again, that's how you're going to increase the likability of yourself. And for me to have the video that I showed everyone earlier made, I think I paid someone on Fiverr, I think it was like $500 for it, which is a little bit more than maybe I should have paid. But everything I'm talking about, like even if you bought some of these tools, it's less than like 500 or less than $600 with the with the video, right? So there's no huge investment, there's no loan needed, anything like that. Hopefully, it's pretty simple. But again, these are the tools that are available. And by the way, within the script, I can't remember how much, but you can use that for free for a limited amount of hours per month as well. So the script, there's a free option for that, a limited amount of hours. Opus, same thing. Oh, ConvertKit, the newsletter that I showed you earlier, that platform that is free until you have up to 10,000 subscribers. So if you have less than 10,000 subscribers, you can do exactly what I showed you. And again, if you weren't here earlier, there's a way within that platform where other people recommend people to your newsletter, and that's how you grow, right? So again, this stuff is not expensive, it's not complicated. You got to put in the work, and that's what we've been doing over the past couple of months is learning all this stuff about ourselves, about our business, about our audience, and then now we can just dump it into tools like AI and get this great outcome. So my one thing that happened this week is I was at the gym on Monday and I dropped a weight on it, like a 70-pound dumbbell, and this thing was just done, done, done. And it's weird. Like I was a little upset, but I actually like not having a phone. I still don't have one. I have to get it fixed by tomorrow. But I'm just glad I'm not looking at my phone all the time, just hanging out with my kids more. The only time it's not fun is like when I'm away from my kids or my wife because they can't find me. But like this whole no cell phone thing, like I don't know. I have to go off the grid. But with that, I am going to, yeah, you got it, Charlotte. With that, I'm going to take off. Everyone, thank you so much for attending. Thanks so much for your participation. And if you know a friend, another entrepreneur, another business owner who could use this information, please do spread it to them, right? The landing page that Frankie set up has all the previous sessions that we've been here for. So if you just share that with them, they can sign up for the next one as well. It's not too late whatsoever. We still have another session. No, we have a couple sessions after this still. So let's do it. Let's keep it going. For now, I'm going to go myself, but thank you, everybody, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.